Hello, fellow Toastmasters, and welcome to another Presentation Wizards podcast. I am your host, Peter Ward, and today's podcast is about John T. Chambers.
I probably will get more out of this session than you will. I'm going to start with saying from the very beginning, if you agree with everything I talk about today, I failed. I want to challenge you in terms of what's possible. I want you to make you think out of the box. I tried to put myself on the other side of this when I was at Indiana University getting my MBA degree. If I were in the audience listening to a business executive, what would really be of value to me or not? So I'm going to talk everything from market transitions to basic mistakes that I think...
John Chambers was born on August 23, 1949 in Charleston. He is the former chairman of the board and CEO of Cisco Systems, Incorporated. No other hardware company has been so closely involved with building and designing the Internet's infrastructure, and much of the company's huge growth and success is down to Chambers. Chambers has been celebrated for making Cisco one of the fastest growing companies in the computing industry, and in 1999 ABC's 2020 featured him as the best boss in America. However, he was pilloried in 2001 when Cisco shares fell fast and very badly. In response, Chambers made some big changes, including cutting staff levels by 8,500 and his own salary to $1, and managed to resurrect and strengthen Cisco. Chambers finds any opportunity to extol the virtues of education and how it can be improved and reinforced by the Internet, which is his absolute passion. Quote, education and the Internet must go hand in hand. It will serve as one of the great equalizers, unquote, he says. Chambers is known for delivering Cisco's sales pitch, which he does at every opportunity, in the style of a revivalist preacher. Indeed, he is referred to by some as the Reverend. He has a Southern Baptist style, complete with walking away from the podium and touching audience members on the shoulder, often to the delighted surprise of the recipients. Chambers is a gifted orator. Some believe that he speaks perhaps a bit too swiftly and with an accent that reveals his West Virginian root, but this has not held him back. Sometimes his ideas run away with him, but his passion is always evident, particularly when he is talking about how the Internet will unequivocally support and drive education for all purposes and at all levels. He may talk to crowds of 5,000, but each person present feels as if Chambers is speaking to him or her directly and personally. Chambers works hard to make people feel emotionally connected to him. For instance, through careful repetition, looking directly at individuals, something many executives and politicians fail to do, and using language that his audience understands. Growing up, Chambers struggled with dyslexia, but like many who suffer from this condition, he has an extraordinary memory. He recalls virtually everything he hears in meetings and always presents without notes, but he does prepare. When it comes to preparation, Chambers rehearses properly, no matter how full his diary. If he uses a PowerPoint presentation, he will memorize the bullet points, of which, please note, there will be very few. He knows where the moments of inflection are, when he's going to leave the stage and walk into the audience, when he's going to praise people by name, and when he's going to pause. Chambers has been described as an e-business emissary. Some say that he sells dreams and peddles hope. In the words of Philip J. Lawler of Internet Service Provider AGIS, quote, "What Bill Gates is to PCs, John Chambers has become for the net," unquote. Chambers continues to have a huge impact on the digital economy, and he also uses his influence to improve access to education. He has served on advisory councils for President George W. Bush and Bill Clinton. As can be imagined, he is much sought after speaker, and wherever he presents, the venue is packed. Greeting his own managers, Chambers apparently often asks, quote, "Are you having fun?" unquote, and he really wants to know whether they are or not. Turning the tables on his questioners during a conference is a Chambers trademark, as he suddenly asks them, quote, "What do you think?" unquote.
As we go forward, everything we do at Cisco forces the team to say, where do you want to be on this project, this corporate social responsibility area, this segment of the market, service providers or enterprise, this strategy in data centers versus HP or IBM. What's your vision of how this plays out 5 to 10 years from now? Then what is your differentiating strategy 2 to 4 years? And really work hard, because this is where the team struggles the most on what's true differentiation. And only then do we go, what are we going to do this quarter, this year? Took me almost 8 or 9 years to drive that through the organization. I did it at the top, but making it part of our culture was a huge challenge. So when we do this now, if you don't present this slide and the four slides when you present at Cisco, it costs you $100. Not subtle, is it? And it's a reminder, think where you want to be, what your differentiation is before you say, now let's go. Over the last 18 months, we were the one company that called in Davos in January of 2009, when everybody was saying gloom and doom. We said, no, we can feel it coming out of this. And we not only said that, I think we were one of 2 optimists there, and Laura, I couldn't find the other one. I was looking for him, or her. But you could feel it turn. Now, it isn't so important to call it. We made the decision it was going to turn. We swung our aircraft carrier into the wind and we launched. We started buying out companies. We started expanding our payroll well before it was obvious to others. 3 months ago, everything was great. Not a cloud in the sky. Well, maybe 4 months ago. And you felt like we're on our way out of this economic slowdown on a global basis. Then, in the last 3 months, you started to see it soften. Not sure which way to go. How much did our vision and strategy change during these 3 time periods? None. So the key is to really play out the hand, think through where you're going, and don't get confused with short-term execution with the longer-term strategy. Innovation. We always had 1 or 2 hot products, and it's not so much that Cisco's a company I want you to learn about, although I'd love to see you at Cisco. It's one that I want you to use as tangible examples for the principles I'm talking about. Over the last 2 decades, when we grew from 400 people when I joined the company and 70 million in sales to 40 billion, we never had more than maybe 2 really hot products where we were the true clear leaders, and a couple good products, and then the others we just kind of sold and supported through a great sales and service organization. In the last 18 months, we have product leadership in our top 15 product categories, market share leadership, gaining share in most of the categories against a host of competitors. What changed? Innovation and operational execution together. Social networking, how we organized our company. The ability, as you do this, to our peers. Market transitions, what did our peers do? As soon as you get what our peers did that we did differently. If you begin to look at our traditional network competitors, perhaps a Juniper, perhaps a Alcatel-Lucent. You look at our wireless competitors, perhaps a Aruba in wireless. You look at unified communication competitors, perhaps a Microsoft or an Avaya. You begin to look at data center competitors, IBM and an HP. You know where I'm headed? Different ones in each category. We're number 1 in each one. And if they work together, that is sustainable differentiation. especially if you loosely and then physically tightly couple them together. It's catching market transitions and then being able to compete against the startups. These are how our new products are growing, and that is hundreds of % per year. That's as fast as startups grow.